Today on episode 124 of Rail Talk, we react to the Saudi Cup, say farewell to Jon Shirreffs and Afleet Alex, and do our Mage Rage Derby draft. John, I'm so excited to do this. It was so much fun last year. I've done a ton of research, which is going to be rendered completely meaningless when Sam comes in from the beach having done no research and wins again.
Jonathan Green, general manager of DJ Stable. And Joe, I know you did a ton of research, but did you interview Dan Torchman? Because if you remember, he gave us a lot of jolly laughs last year during his draft. And guess what? He wasn't invited back.
Dan's booby prize apparently is not being invited back for this year's draft. So thanks for your service, Dan. Let's start the show. The opinions expressed on Rail Talk are those of hosts Joe, Bianca, and Jon Green and do not reflect those of anybody we work with or work for. Rail Talk is sponsored by the Green Group, the #1 accounting firm in the horse business. No other CPA firm knows the horse industry like they do. Len and DJ have over 200 horses. They won over 2,600 races. You hear us talk about it every week, pretty much winning big races across the country. And the Green Group's got close to 1,000 clients in the horse business because they make them money and save them taxes. As always, there is a special, exclusive, one-of-one offer for you, Rail Talk listener. There's a complimentary, confidential, half-hour consultation where Len guarantees he will find you value, and all you got to do is punch in these numbers into your phone keypad. 732-634-5100. Thank you, Michael Agresta, the sweet swinging sounds of the Green Group jingle. You can call that number, or you can go to greenco.com to find out more. Len and the Green Group have helped out so many people in this industry. There's a reason they are the authority when it comes to taxes. And obviously, with the new tax law, there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of new benefits of racehorse ownership. If you have any questions at all, I highly suggest you take us up on that half-hour consultation offer. But in case I'm not convincing enough, you can listen to Duncan Taylor, the former president and CEO of Tailor Made Farm, tell you all about how his synergy with the Green Group has helped him out.
The Green Group does all of our accounting, and we're loyal people, so we always liked what Len is doing. I mean, he was helping us with some investments. All the way back with my dad, we were Liberty Bell or something was a real estate deal we went on. So he was on the fringes always helping us, but we had a fellow Malcolm Saunier and a couple other accountants that we were loyal to. And then, you know, finally Len, through his perseverance and his work ethic and his, I wouldn't say ever badgered us at all, but just through showing us the way, we finally just said, hey, we need to, he knows what he's doing. We need to put our accounting with him. It's been great ever since. I've got good people there, and it really has helped us. And so we really are a team in every way. We're friends. He's my customer. I'm his customer. And when I say me, it's Tailor Made. But you know, we've just had a great relationship, and he loves to work, so I like that because I like to work too. We're always looking for a better way to do things, and Len has shown us a lot of better ways, and I think he's doing the same thing in his accounting firm.
Thank you, Duncan. Thank you, Len and the Green Group. I shouldn't have to tell you, but we're less than 2 months away from tax day. So if you want that expertise, if you want Len and the Green Group to help save you money, you got to act quickly. You got those tax returns are piling up. There's so many people who are in that queue. But as a listener of Rail Talk, he will fit you in. I guarantee you. But you got to call soon at 732-634-5100 or go to greenco.com. So the richest race in the world was run on Saturday. And yeah, I mean, I don't know about you, John, but like these cards, like these Saudi Cup and Dubai World Cup cards don't really do it for me. Like it's obviously terrific racing, super high quality, but I don't know, maybe because it's in the morning, maybe it's because of the whole sports washing thing in Saudi Arabia. Like I just don't get excited for these cards. That being said, Forever Young is appointment viewing no matter where he's running. And he was phenomenal again on Saturday. Got another terrific ride from his jockey. Like that guy and that horse, like they have such a bond and are so intertwined. And like that was a daring move to go through on the inside. Nysos obviously ran huge, made him work for it pretty much till the last 16th of a mile. But man, it's so cool. Like to see somebody other than the blue bloods of the racing world have a horse that's this good and this popular for a country that is as obsessed with racing as probably any on the planet. So, it's the kind of thing where I honestly probably would not have watched that card and watched that race if it weren't for Forever Young. But he's just incredible, and they seem pretty sporting. Like, obviously he's an ATM for them, but it just seems like they want to keep running him like as long as they can because he is such a big star and so consistent.
And what's wonderful is the team that owns and manages and trains Forever Young. I remember listening to their acceptance speech at the Eclipse Awards and was just absolutely enamored with them. I mean, not only were they humble and appreciative, but they accepted the award and spoke in not their native language, which would scare the bejesus out of me to be in that much of an emotional state when your horse just, won an Eclipse Award. You were up there this year as well, and like have to give a presentation and acceptance award, acceptance speech, not in your native language. Like that to me was just so humbling. And you could see how much they appreciated that moment accepting a trophy, how much they appreciated the fact that the industry as a whole recognized their horse as, one of the top in the world. And then they were like, and we're not done yet, guys. And they shipped them off. And now he's winning all over the place. I mean, Joe, you and I talk about how difficult it is sometimes for a horse to go from Florida to Arkansas or Florida to New York. Or, New York to California. I mean, God forbid they have to ship across the country. And like these horses are literally globetrotting around the world. And Forever Young in particular is winning basically at every single country, every single stop that where he runs. So, it's great that he made $30 million. But like you said, he's going to have a following now that's almost like Beatles-esque, where every time he goes to a racetrack, people are watching and they want to be a part of it. And they're talking about his greatness. And it's a really feel-good story, even though it's not an American story. It's a feel-good story for our industry and one that we're starving for.
Yeah, well, if he were an American horse, he probably would have been at stud by now. Like, let's be real. And we're grateful that he's still running and can't wait to see what the rest of his campaign looks like. And I think racing, the sport in general, benefits more when it's a global sport. Like, and there's more participation from all corners of the earth. That to me helps keep it going throughout the world. And to have a horse like this who is an international superstar is just great. And he's an absolute joy to watch. So, and you make a great point about the connections. Like they're so humble and so likable. Got great gear, by the way. Guys, I want to send me one of those Forever Young jackets. Those are amazing that I saw at the Breeders' Cup. So shout out to them and shout out to that horse and the connections. Like it's just he is an absolute joy to watch. And like we were saying, like he's definitely not done yet. Other results from the weekend. The only result that really stood out was Paladin winning in the Risen Star. We're going to do our Derby draft in a little bit. I thought he was the horse to beat in what was kind of a subpar looking field. Got a 93 buyer and winning, kind of workmanlike, but obviously one of the top contenders. Cost $1 bajillion. He's a very, very impressive and exciting horse in a really deep class. John, any thoughts on Paladin's run?
Well, I think, it's not going to be a shocker if whoever gets the number one pick selects Paladin because, he's got the most number of points right now. And he won that race pretty impressively. Joe, he's the only 3-year-old colt that has won 2 different 9 furlong graded stake races so far. 2 different 9 furlong graded stakes. So, the question of can he go a little bit further? There's no question. He's going to be able to handle the distance. It's just whether or not he continues to develop like all these 3-year-olds do. It's only February and it only counts what they do the first weekend of May. So he is definitely as of now, I mean, we're not breaking any news here. He is the horse to beat going into the first weekend of March.
Yeah, for sure. And he's got the right style that would suggest that he's, going to relish 10 furlongs. And I agree. I think the foundation of him having already 2 races at 1 1/8 miles is big. And we're going to talk about it in the draft later, but a lot of other horses, you're projecting how well they're going to do going longer. And, he's already done that very, very well. But I do think he has a little bit that Sierra Leone look where he's going to be overbet no matter what because of the connections, because of the price tag, because of his running style. So, I wouldn't be rushing to bet him at 9-1 or whatever he closed at in the future wager, but obviously has done very little wrong so far and is an exciting horse. I wanted to follow up real quick on the whole Jockey Club beef that we touched on last week. We're not going to spend a ton of time on it, but I thought, in all fairness, I was kind of needling Aaron Wellman last week for, his letter to the editor without like a lot of specifics. He wrote another one to the TDN this week and did have a lot more specifics. So I did want to mention it. And he specifically talked about the money, the allocation of the money that the Jockey Club has and the expenditures on executive compensation and ABR in particular, relative to the aftercare spending. He's saying that executive compensation is 60% more than they spend on aftercare, and ABR's budget is 30% more than they spend on aftercare. Listen, I like the people at ABR. They do a great job. We're very friendly with them. And I think that, absent them, like, where is the central marketing campaign in the sport? But I do think it's not a great look for that, or especially the executive compensation to be, so far above the aftercare contributions, especially with the executive compensation, because John, like, the board of the Jockey Club, they're already independently wealthy people. Like, this is not like scraping by to survive. Here's a salary. And, some people brought up the Park Avenue address. And I do think that this is a fair criticism that, I overall think the Jockey Club people at the Jockey Club have their heart in the right place and are trying to grow the game. But I'm curious your take, John. I do think it's a little bit it's a little bit old guard and kind of whistling past the graveyard when you're having so much money spent on executives and marketing when so many horses are kind of falling through the cracks on aftercare.
Yeah, I think the aftercare issue is legitimate, and I know from having sat on a meeting today, with the Jockey Club, that there will be more coming out as far as what additional funding and initiatives are going to be implemented or impacted in 2026. I'm not at liberty to disclose that information. That'll be coming out, issued by the Jockey Club, and hopefully by having more conversation, whether it's from Aaron Wellman's 2 letters, or from Mike Rapoli or Pat Cummings or anybody else who's commenting about the leadership in our industry. Those conversations should be had, and those conversations need to be continued. I know that they're under the specter of, well, the Jockey Club may get sued. That may curtail some of the communication that goes on, and derail some of the conversations that are being had right now. And I know people are clamoring on Twitter about, you need to answer these 30 questions and it's imperative and you owe us transparency. And that may be well and good. But when you're doing it under the specter of, and we're going to get sued and all that information is going to be discoverable at that point, I don't think it's unreasonable to say, I don't want to give any ammunition to the opposing team. Again, we shouldn't have opposing teams in this situation. There should be open communication between all parties as to what's going on and what can be improved upon. And I think that's what's, the impetus behind the letters that are being, and the communication and the questions that are being asked. But, Joe, I think like anything else, it comes down to the old W.C. Fields, question of, would you sleep with me for $1? What do you think I am? Well, would you sleep with me for $1 million? Sure. Well, now we're just negotiating on a price. Okay. So if everyone was efficient and everyone was really good with their money, it wouldn't be a question of where's their address, okay, of their offices, and why can't they do a better job of curtailing expenses, and why do they have to fly first class versus? None of those questions, I think, would be even in the running right now if we had a more efficient or a more open conversation about how to fix the industry.
Yeah, I mean, transparency is huge here. And I think that's like, we talked about it a little bit last week, but, Mike Rapoli challenging the Jockey Club board to a debate. I do think that there needs to be some kind of open forum. Like, we honestly have not really heard from the Jockey Club throughout this whole kind of saga publicly, except for that one piece that they wrote in the TDN, which was not well received, and I thought missed the mark on a lot of different areas. So again, like I don't want to ascribe nefarious intent to anybody in this situation and in this back and forth, but I do think that Aaron raised some good points, with the spending relative to what they spend on aftercare. Because I think that we all can agree, like, if we had to pick one area where we're falling short, and trust me, there's fucking plenty, it's aftercare. And I think that, especially with the sales numbers that are happening, like record sales numbers last year expected to continue this year. Like, it's unacceptable for that much money to be changing hands and to not have a safety net and a soft landing spot for all of our thoroughbreds, not just some of them. So I think this is a conversation that should be ongoing. And I do think that the Jockey Club needs to have some kind of public response beyond just an op-ed. Like, there needs to be some kind of conversation back and forth that everybody can see. And it doesn't need to be like, this is why, like, I didn't want Mike to be involved if something like that happens, because there's just so much animus and so much hot air coming from that. And so much personal, like, hurt feelings or anger or whatever it is. Like, Pat Cummings would be a guy that I think, if he came to the table, would be a good representative for the critical of the Jockey Club faction. So I do hope that there's something like that, somewhere down the pike, because, I think that some of these criticisms have a lot of basis in reality, and there needs to be some kind of accountability, especially when you're talking about executive compensation and budgeting relative to taking care of the horses. So we'll keep on this.
Joe, let me just jump in for one more thing, because we've had back channel conversations with all the parties, and Pat Cummings, to his credit, said he would come on the show and talk and debate. And Aaron Wellman, to his credit, said he would come on the show and talk and debate. And we're still waiting word from somebody from the Jockey Club. And I just don't think that third party is going to show up or going to want to have an open forum discussion like that. I think that there's probably conversations going on that we're not privy to amongst the different parties. And I would hope that would be the case. But we're open to having people, whether it's on our show or somebody else's show. We don't give a shit.
Right.
But the point is that like the adults in the room that represent all the different groups need to come together and try to work things out. Because, our friend and friend of the show, Brett Jones, said to me this morning, and I know he won't mind me quoting him, said this morning that this situation is an opportunity to heal. And he's right. It's an opportunity for us to get together as an industry and move forward.
Yeah, no, I agree. And like, there's too much, like I said this last week, but there's too much tweeting and there's too much sniping. There needs to be more talking. And I do think that, with the relative dearth of public statements that they've made, it's incumbent upon the Jockey Club to come to the table to have that conversation. And if Rapoli is not in it, I think that makes it, it's more fertile ground for like a substantive conversation where we can go forward with some ideas. So, it sounds like Mike is willing to like take that step back. And if that's the case, then there's no reason that the Jockey Club shouldn't come to the table and listen and take questions too. Like, take questions from people, from industry participants, because there's plenty of smart people who have, I think, a lot of reasonable criticisms and questions about the future of the sport. And there just needs to be more of an open door policy and more transparency when it comes to that. All right.
And Joe, I want to say one more thing, if you don't mind. It's something
I keep trying to move on. Go ahead.
Me. No, it's something that's really been bothering me. And it's more of a personal note than anything else. What the general racing public seems to forget is that people who are atop the industry right now, and whether it's Mike or whether it's you guys or whether it's us or whether it's Aaron Wellman at Eclipse or a countless number of other top programs that are kicking ass in the industry, quite frankly, and would like nothing better than for the status quo to stay the way it is, because we're collectively doing a great, like, we're winning and making money and all those things. Okay. But if we see, if 4 of the top, arguably 10 programs in the United States see that this industry is broken and we want to fix it and we want to change it, then that something is really screwed up. Because if we're the ones on top of the game right now and we're saying this isn't going to last the way it's going, we need to make a change, then I don't know what else you need to see. So when people come in and say, oh, you guys aren't doing enough and you guys aren't saying enough and how could you say this? We're all trying to make the industry better. And you know what? We don't have to. We really don't have to. We can continue to do this for 2 or 3 or 5 more years and the industry will die on the vine, but we'll be on top. And that's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to make sure the industry lasts for decades, if not another century, under our watch. This is the opportunity for that to happen.
Yeah. Well said, and we'll leave it at that. I do have a quick bee in my bonnet, and then we're going to talk about two giants that we lost over the weekend.
It's only fair. It's only fair that we're exchanging bees. Or are we exchanging bonnets? What are we doing? Are we exchanging bees or are we exchanging bonnets?
Let's just roll with it. We have the animation and the bee buzzing. I think. Here we go.
Kadoosh.
It's like stressed about Gulfstream Park on Sunday. Like, so they had the big carryover in the Rainbow Six, and it was like $550,000 mandatory force out payout. And I did get involved in it, and they always advertise they're like projected $5 million pool, and I always feel like these projections, like, first of all, the bigger the pool, the less of the edge. So why are you telling me that it's going to be 10 times the carryover? It's better if it's $1 million and the carryover is $550,000. So the fact that you're advertising it 10 times the carryover does not make me more likely to bet it. Like, I know the number sounds good, but that's just an aside. What really bugged me was, and they do this every time, the horses going to the gate for the first leg of the sequence. Post time was 2:57, and then it was 3:02, and then it was 3:04, and then it was 3:08, and then they ended up sending the race off at like 3:10. I'm sure somebody will come and say, well, there was a late scratch. That was like very, very late. They had already been walking around for 10 minutes before that late scratch came in. And this is just another thing where it's like, I know it sounds minor, but this is another thing that would never be accepted in any other kind of gambling game. Like, if you go to the casino and you're going to the roulette table and you put your money down on black or red or whatever, how would you feel if the dealer stands there and is like looking around and waiting, like, oh, we don't have enough people, we don't have enough money on the table yet, we just like hold on. Like, they're like holding our money captive so that they can try to get more and more into the pool. And by the way, the pool ended up being 3.1 million. So they weren't even close on their projection. But it's just like, it's another little slap in the face where you have no respect for people's time. And, you're just clearly delaying to try to suck up more money into the pool. Like, just be glad that people are still betting $2.5 million into a pick six in this day and age in racing. And that just drove me crazy. And there was another delay later in the card. And this is like, we were in the race. I think it was race 9, and it was the race that Eclatant won. That actually was really, really impressive. They Philly got a 104 buyer first time off the layoff. But the 9 in the race, Nick Style, had a broken saddle that they didn't recognize until the horse got to the gate. They had like a 10-minute delay to figure out what was wrong and then go back to the jock's room and then bring a saddle back. To me, if you get to the gate before realizing that your saddle is broken, you have to scratch, because it's not fair to the rest of the horses who are raring to go and about to go in the gate to be walking around in circles for 10 minutes because you couldn't figure out that the saddle was broken. And part of me has to believe that this was the favorite. This was like the 4-5 favorite. That was going to be a shitload of money that they had to refund if that horse was scratched. So to me, it's kind of related to the delay before the pick six. But yeah, I'm just so tired of these little things that would not be accepted in any other gambling game. And the powers that be in racing just do it because they're used to disrespecting the horse player.
John, and that's been Gulfstream's MO pretty much from the beginning. Like most,
yes.
And you can ask Sam because she'll be on in a few minutes. But basically, it was like, all the other racetracks abide within reason of the post time, especially for sequencing on TV, on TVG and everything on FanDuel. And Gulfstream, it's kind of like what's the word I'm looking for? It's like an estimate. It's not even it's like right. Yeah, well, we'll get there. We'll get there. Yeah. But I understand for the 6th race why they were doing that. And all I kept thinking, because we were in the 7th, all I kept thinking is, God, these poor horses that are running 6 furlongs in the 6th race, I hope they're fit enough to go a mile, because that's how much they're circling, waiting for, and the scratch, you're right. There was a scratch, and normally that would back everybody out of the gate, and they'd have to start, they'd give everyone 5 minutes to kind of get everything together and make sure that the gamblers in that sense were addressed properly. So I do give them credit when there is a scratch at the gate. They usually back everybody out. But this one, you're right, Joe. Like, it was 10, 12 minutes late. And on top of that, they had the first two horses in the gate and they scratched one. And immediately the announcer said, oh, I guess they're going to back everyone out and delay even more. And all of a sudden it was like, nope, the 4, 5, 6 went in. It was like, oh crap. Like for whatever reason, they finally figured out, you know what? If we keep delaying this, our last race is going to be twilight racing here at Gulfstream. We don't have lights.
Yeah, no doubt. And again, like it's so obvious what they're doing, and it wouldn't be accepted at a casino or in sports betting or any other game. And yeah, you knew it was going to happen, and in no respect for people's time. All right, that's off my chest. We have to talk about two racing giants that we lost in the past week. First is John Shirreffs. Now, John Shirreffs was 80 years old, and apparently this was like a pretty big surprise. Like, it didn't seem like he was in ill health, but obviously a training giant on the West Coast and an old school guy. Like, that's what I loved about John Shirreffs, was that, he was one of these guys, kind of like Shug, where it's like, we're training for a career. And obviously he's known best for Zenyatta and the success that she had. And I thought about this when I heard about John Shirreffs' passing, is I don't know that Zenyatta would have had the career that she had in a lot of the modern super barns, because she was a horse. She was obviously a gigantic specimen, like 17 hands, and she had to come around on her own terms and her own timeline. And that's part of the reason that she was able to develop into the superstar that she was. And she was so expertly trained and managed by John Shirreffs, and she was obviously she was a transcendent superstar. And as always, the horse came first with her. And that was, he never had like a huge stable. He never had like hundreds of horses, because I think that he had that kind of attitude that, like, listen, every horse needs its own program. Every horse needs its own individualized care. And to me, that's so important, and just so, like, it's missing, I think, a lot with the modern trainer, where it's like, hey, if you can't win as a 2-year-old, like that summer, if you're not a graded stakes winner right away, like, I got no use for you, and you're going to be in a claimer like in the next couple of races. And John was the antithesis of that. He obviously trained Giacomo to the big upset in the Kentucky Derby in 2005. He won almost 600 races. He had $58 million in earnings, started out on his own in 1976. But again, John, like, the real takeaway for me is an old school guy. And it sucks that, like, I think he was the last of what is a dying breed in this industry in terms of horsemanship.
Yeah. And Joe, don't forget that he was training Baeza, as well, who ran in the majority of the 3-year-old big races this year. And honestly, if it wasn't such a top heavy stacked group of 3-year-olds last year, we'd be talking about Baeza maybe as being another great champion that John Shirreffs trained. But I never had the opportunity to meet John, but from everything that I've heard about him and about the kind of person that he was, and just, a really top trainer, but an even better individual, was a lot of the comments that, when asked about John Shirreffs. And just, he's going to leave an indelible mark on the sport. And like you said, it's, there aren't very many guys like that anymore, where each horse had its own individual style and opportunity to maximize its potential under his care. So, again, we've lost a couple of really top-notch, well-respected trainers over the past couple of months, and it's leaving a big void in our industry.
Yeah, no, well said. And John is survived by his wife, Dottie and Gordo Shirreffs, and his sister, Anita, and stepson, David and Gordo, who we're obviously very close with. So our condolences go out to them and to David and his step-granddaughter, Reagan and Gordo. So, yeah, he did right by his horses. And that, to me, is the best thing that you can say about a trainer. And just seeing all the tributes that come in, and that, everybody that had such fond memories of him, it's really speaks to the kind of person he was, and he will be missed. Another participant in the business that we will miss greatly is Afleet Alex. Afleet Alex died over the past weekend, and he was one of those horses for me, John, that was kind of a formative like horse that I really grasped onto, and I think a lot of America grasped onto. His race in the Preakness. Like, if you have never seen, if you're a younger viewer or listener and you have never seen Afleet Alex's race in the Preakness, go watch it, because that was maybe the most impressive race I've ever seen, considering the circumstances, where he goes down to his nose in the stretch and then kicks away to win by like 6-7 lengths. That was just a stunning effort. And he was awesome. He won the Belmont, and he was a half length away from winning the Derby when he ran third. So that is like, he could have been he could have been the one to break that Triple Crown drought. And if he had had a little bit more luck on the Derby trip, and obviously, the story behind his namesake and the trainer and the owner, and John, I know, you're pretty close with Cash is King. And Afleet Alex was a superstar who did it as a 2-year-old. I remember him winning. I remember this very, very distinctly. I was watching the old OTB show. They used to have like a Monday, Tuesday show on the New York City and Capital OTBs. And like, it was Howie Tesher and like Anthony Stabile and these guys. And I remember watching Delaware Park on like a sloppy track Tuesday, and Afleet Alex debuted and won by like 12 lengths. And then he won the Sanford, and he just had a tremendous career, 2-3. And he was special. And like I said, if you haven't seen that Preakness, go back and watch it. And he'll be missed, and not a bad stallion either. Like, he didn't have like a bunch of great sons, but I see his mares pop up in pedigrees pretty frequently, and just a real special horse. And on that kind of funny side train, when I was first getting into the business, where it seemed like, hey, anything can happen. Smarty Jones, Afleet Alex, funny side. You don't have to have $1 kajillion and be the biggest name in the room to have a special horse. And that's what is really unique about this game.
Well, and the thing about Afleet Alex that I'll always remember is just the barriers that he broke. People would go back and say, he's a mid-May fall. He'll never be a good early horse. Well, the Hopeful and the Sanford say differently. And he's a Florida bred, and only Kentucky breds are good enough to win the Triple Crown races. Well, he won the Arkansas Derby and the Preakness and the Belmont. And who is Tim Ritchie and these guys? Cash is King. Who the hell are they? They're outsiders. Nobody knows who they are. Well, the rest is history with Cash is King and the Zachnys and how well they've done in the industry. But he was a horse that we met Chuck Zachney and then very young son Alex Zachney a couple of years after Afleet Alex. But it was the conversations that we had with the Zachnys about Afleet Alex that really got us, to become fast friends. And Chuck was very, very open and honest with his time with us, and helped kind of formulate our decision making on trying to get better and trying to get better bred horses and a little bit more commercial and everything. So all those things were born out of Afleet Alex, not only his racing prowess, but just constantly breaking through glass ceilings that hadn't been done in a while. And it's great to me when you have kind of the underdogs that come in and swoop in and win some of these big races. And, the horse was Eclipse champion as a 2-year-old, Florida Horse of the Year, I think for 2 years in a row, and then won a special Eclipse. Excuse me, the Zachnys won a special Eclipse for their contributions to Alex's Lemonade Stand, which was, born out of the namesake of Afleet Alex, in order to donate money to children's cancer awareness. So just so many good things came out of that horse that transcend even what he did in the Stallion Barn and ultimately what his foals have done to put their fingerprints in modern history. It was just it's a great story and one that still warms my heart. And I was upset to see that he had passed, but his story and the people involved with him kind of transcend even his abilities on the racetrack.
Totally. Yeah. And like I said, this is, one of those horses that really got me hooked on racing when I was first following it. And he ran 12 times, 8 wins, 2 seconds, 1/3, only over $2.76 million in earnings, stood stud at Gainesway from 2006 to 2021 before being pensioned in 2022. Still holds the record for the Sanford Stakes. He ran 109.32. That's a race that's been run, 150 times? And Afleet Alex still has the quickest running back in 2004. He won the Hopeful. He was second in the Champagne, second in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, won the Preakness, won the Belmont, third in the Kentucky Derby. And yeah, it's kind of interesting synergy. We were just talking about Giacomo winning that 2005 Derby. And, if it weren't for him and maybe some bad luck with the trip with Afleet Alex, maybe Afleet Alex was that Triple Crown winner that we had been waiting so long for. So, I agree with what you're saying, that like, it's obviously sad that he passed, but it's also like, it was a great opportunity to kind of relive some of the memories that he brought to racing fans. And he really was one of a kind. And again, like one of those stories that John's talking about, where it's an inspiration. Like this is what keeps us coming back to this game. Like the fact that a 4-legged animal running in an oval can be such an inspiration to millions of people. Like that is what is so special and so important about this game. And one of the reasons that we wanted to keep going is because of those stories. And Afleet Alex is right near the top of that list. Rail Talk is sponsored by Epic Insurance Brokers, one of the nation's top retail insurance brokers, providing expertise across key lines of insurance like property and casualty, employee benefits, and unique specialty insurance. Our buddy Chris Moore leads Epic's equine specialty practice. He owns horses. He breeds horses. He buys horses. He lives and breathes this business. And that's the kind of person you want in charge of anything related to money. And insurance obviously can be a little bit of a mess, a little bit overwhelming for some people, including myself. And I'm glad I don't have to take care of it for West Point. But if I were to be the guy in charge of it, I would call Chris or text Chris right away, because he and his team specialize in this kind of knowledge and getting all of your insurance need unified, getting it all in order. Chris is, the breeding sheds are opening right now. So this is like a great time to figure out whether or not you need foal insurance, whether or not you need mare insurance. It's if you're lucky enough to have a stallion, what the insurance on that horse should be. Even with horses on the racetrack, they're constantly being revalued. And that's something that Chris has deep experience in, and the rest of the team at Epic as well. So shout out to the team at Epic. Appreciate you guys. Can't wait to see you, Chris, down in Ocala. Call or text our buddy Chris at 317-650-4519. And that leads us to this week's
Epic Performance of the Week.
And the Epic Performance of the Week this week, this is a homer pick, but she was very impressive. It's DJ Stable's own French Friction, who won the Dixie Belle Stakes over the weekend. Mark Cassie's barn is doing a bang-up job, all meet at Oaklawn, but this filly was particularly impressive. John, tell us a little bit more about this exciting daughter of City of Light. I thought, okay, I was trying to tee you up. Go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't know. It's only our first show together, so we're not, the synergy's not there yet, Joe. But yes, French Friction. Joe, that I try to be as humble as possible when it comes to our own horses, but I just couldn't help it with a filly like this, like French Friction, who won very impressively. Now is 2 wins and 2 starts, each won by 6 lengths. And earned an 84 buyer, winning the Dixie Belle, going out in 21-4, 45-3, finishing up in 110. And Joe, she was winning by so much. How much was she winning by? She was winning by so much that Christian Torres, actually the last 16th of a mile, was raining really hard that day and sloppy racetrack. He's actually brushing her mane to one side as he's finishing the race, because she was winning by so much, and he wanted to make sure her hair was perfectly coiffed as they hit the wire together. So a lot of credit to Mr. Torres, and we're very appreciative of him riding French Friction so well. He's actually been on her both times in both wins. And Joe, I think that the next stop for French Friction is probably going to be at Keeneland opening weekend. We're not sure yet if it's going to be the Beaumont or the Ashland. We'll see how much she can continue to go, but she's a City of Light out of an AP Indy, black type winning AP Indy mare. So you would think that she can go the distance, but it's only been her second start. She was a little bit late developing. We gave her some time, and again, to 2-time Hall of Fame credit, two-time Hall of Fame trainer Mark Cassie's credit. We were giving her all the time in the world, and we're going to give her about 6 weeks now between this race and the next one. And hopefully we will see you opening weekend at Keeneland.
Yeah, and hopefully the first Friday in May, perhaps, because Nitrogen is the queen, and this filly might be the princess. Shout out to French Friction and Christian Torres. I love that story. Like, what an absolute sweetheart. I love when jockeys do stuff like that. French Friction is this week's epic performance of the week. Rail Talk is sponsored by Tailor Made. Shout out to the team at Tailor Made Farm. Obviously, the sales are coming up. They have a great consignment at pretty much every major sale in the country. John and Len and DJ trust them with their most valued stock for a reason. They've been doing this for decades. They have expertise all across the industry, have a dedicated team. They're dedicated to the horses and the clients above all else. The expertise and the love and the passion that they have for this business is something you're not going to find at any other consignor. And of course, you got the Stallion roster as well, headlined by Not This Time, plenty of other nice up and coming stallions on that roster. You can learn all about the sales, the stallions, the boarding, the racing partnerships, or even taking a tour of Tailor Made Farm at tailormadefarm.com. So this is the moment you all have been waiting for. It is the second annual Mage Rage Derby Draft. It's presented as always by Airdrie Stud and Mage, Kentucky Derby winner, son of good magic, well-bred. We know all about Puka and her family. This is as impeccable of a stallion mare cross as you can get, and you can get in on the ground floor still with Mage over at Airdrie Stud. Shout out to the team at Airdrie. You guys do an unbelievable job. Appreciate you sponsoring the contest again. This is a lot of fun. Just going to go over the rules in a little bit, but first, I want to introduce our beloved contestants. You already know John, so let's go to the other three. She's got to get top billing because she won this last year from the beach, doing the draft and no research, but she obviously knows a little something. Gulfstream Park TV host Samantha Perry. Hey, Sam.
Hey, guys. Glad to be back. Thank you for having me.
Oh, she got the smart girl glasses on, too. We're in big, big trouble this time. So shout out to Sam going for 2 in a row. Thanks for joining us. He is chiming in all the way from the other end of the earth. Our favorite Kiwi, the bloodstock manager at Arian Pedigrees, Andrew Stewart. Welcome, my friend.
Good afternoon, everybody. Great to be here, representing the rest of the world.
Yeah, no, that's like the All-Star game. It's like the U.S. versus the world, and the world is kicking our ass right now in many ways. And last but not least, she is the bloodstock agent of Black Dog Bloodstock, Lauren Carlisle. Welcome to the Derby Draft, Lauren.
Hi. Woo! I don't know. Dropped out for me to be in this, but
like 8 people dropped out for you to
about
make
to
it.
say how far down the list was I for me to get thrown in here, but happy to be here. I didn't know we had an Aussie with us though.
Kiwi.
Didn't know that.
New Zealand.
Not Aussie?
No.
What's that? What is a Kiwi?
New Zealand.
Okay, I was close.
No, that's like an insult. You don't call a Kiwi
Did
an
I call
Aussie.
you Canadian?
No, not at all.
There you go.
Do not do that.
There you go.
Right back at you. And the blood is already in the water, Joe.
That's right. That's like saying
I
like a
didn't
New
do
Yorker
that
and
on
Boston,
purpose.
rather
same
than
thing.
north.
I'm sorry. I didn't know. I really didn't know. That's my bad.
That's
I
all right.
Yeah, Lauren's showing her worldly knowledge as always. All right, so we already are off to a great start, and we're going to go over the rules real quick, and then we will jump into it. So the draft order was selected scrupulously by our star associate producer, Julia Agresta. Julia is selected as she's proven she cannot be bought, and she really doesn't care, honestly. The order of the picks. Julia, let's see them. So it's going to be a snake draft. The first pick picks first, then the pick 5 picks 5th, and then we'll reverse. That pick 5 team goes 6th, and then the first pick goes 10th, et cetera, et cetera. We'll keep snaking around. You get the idea. Each stable will pick 3-year-olds they feel have the best chance to win the Derby or rack up the most points on the Derby road. Any points, Derby points that a horse already is accrued will belong to the stable who drafts that horse. Just makes the math easier for our crack production team along the way. Any Derby points awarded after drafting will obviously be added to the stable's total points. Again, most points is what we're going for here. You guys got that? All right, good. And then for the Derby itself, these are the points that will be awarded. Win is a 150-point bonus. Place is 100. Show is 50. And then 4th will be 25. It's possible to win the Major Age Derby contest without winning the Derby, but obviously more fun to do it that way. We also are going to do a supplemental draft at a future date where we'll have a new order of draft selection. You can get rid of 2 of your horses and select 2 new horses to the stable. Releases are announced first in case any other stable wants to pick those horses up, though really, why would anybody want to? And you'll take possession of any Derby points your new selection may have accrued. Now for the most important part, the prize. Prize for winning is nothing. Just beating Joe and John, that should be enough of an incentive for you guys. What's that?
We have to have a prize. There needs to be a prize, or else.
No, you're already locked in. Like you already signed the contract. No prizes. You're not going anywhere. Satisfaction and bragging rights. How about that, Lauren?
I need something. I got to have something.
You can come on the show and brag.
I demand to be paid. We have to be paid if we win.
Right. Sam, how much good publicity did you get out of winning last year's contest, Sam? It's priceless,
so much.
Right?
I'd walk down the street and they'd be like, "Hey, didn't you win the Major Age contest?" I was like, "Yeah," and I didn't even win the Derby. I beat John.
That's right. See,
right.
Yeah.
See, so it's
at the top of her resume
Lauren.
now.
This could be you, Lauren. Watch out.
All right, we're off to a roaring start. So let's do it. Okay, you guys want to get out? Lauren, you want to get out anything else before we get going?
Any other gripes?
I have many, but no,
It'll
I
be
can't.
like Festivus in February.
Festivus is one of my favorite holidays, actually. I'm a big Seinfeld fan.
No surprise.
And by the way, Lauren was already complaining that this is rigged. So
it is this 100%. The order was rigged. It had to be.
You're not even last. I am. You can't complain when I'm not complaining. This is like ridiculous. All right. So overall, there's going to be 6 rounds. We're going to start right now before any other hijinks ensue. So with that being said, the first pick belongs to Andrew Stewart. Is it Andrew?
Well, I've spent all morning watching replays again and again and again. And to my inexperienced Kiwi eye, the first pick in the draft is Nearly.
Oh, man. He was at the top of my board, too. All right. So Nearly, the winner of the Holy Bull, will be Andrew's first pick. I'm not going to do a big spiel after every pick, but for the first round, I feel like I got to pump it up. So Nearly is the number 1 pick in the Major Age Derby draft. Next up is our esteemed defending champion, Samantha Perry.
Okay, for my pick, I am going to draft Commandment.
Gulfstream homer to the core. Commandment is the number 2 pick from Sam. All right. Next up in the order is our buddy, Jonathan Green. Go ahead, John.
I can't run this pick up fast enough. That's how excited I am about it. The horse that has the most points right now, I'm going with Paladin.
Oh,
it's a good call. Fresh off that big win in the Risen Star. Obviously a huge hype horse. John at number 3 takes Paladin. Lauren, give us your 4th pick.
I'm going with Renegade.
Nice. So we got Renegade, the Sam Davis winner. Assume he's pointing to the Tampa Bay Derby. Lauren picks Renegade. All right. I really, honestly, those are the top 4 horses. So now I'm already scrambling a little bit. I'm going to take Plutarch, the winner of the Bob Lewis the other day. We'll see if he's able to stretch out. I got Plutarch at number 5. For my 6th pick, we're going snake here. So I do 2 picks in a row. This is a little bit of a gamble, but I'm going to go with Emerging Market. This was a really, really nice first out maiden winner at Tampa on the Sam Davis undercard for Chad Brown. He's obviously got some points to accrue, but I'm taking Emerging Market as my 2nd pick. Goes back to you, Lauren.
I guess I'm going to go with Paladin. Or however
That's already taken.
I picked Paladin already.
Who took it?
Me.
John.
I took him with the third pick.
You know what? That's because I literally tune you out. So
Again,
Join the
no
club.
shame. But and how did you pronounce his name? Paladin? Like Aladdin with a P?
You know
Can
what?
show you
What is
the
that?
world.
What is,
Paladin.
first of all, Aladdin, don't even get me started on that movie. But the biggest gaslighting of the Disney characters was Aladdin. So
But you know the word gaslighting, but you don't know Paladin?
yeah, whatever his name is.
Okay.
All right,
Anyway,
so
but he's taken too.
okay, I'm going with Chip Honcho.
Chip Honcho. All right. That's the Fairgrounds route for Steve Asmussen, I believe. That's Chip Honcho for Lauren. Next up, back to you, John.
I am going to go with the Champagne winner, Napoleon Solo.
Ooh.
Well done. Hasn't run yet this year, but is supposedly working up a storm. Napoleon Solo to John. Over to you, Sam.
Litmus test.
Nice. Love that horse. That was one of our Rail Talk citations last year. Sam takes litmus test. Now back around to Andrew Stewart for the next two picks.
Ooh, well, I'm going to take the Southwest winner, Silent Tactic, from the stable of Mark Cassie.
Well done.
There you go. That's a smart pick.
That's
And
that's
a good
the last
value
pick in
pick,
the second
Andrew.
round, and now the first pick of the third round. Andrew, double up.
First pick of the third round, the son of Curlin. Third in the Risen Star, Golden Tempo.
Nice. Has some points accrued. Golden tempo to Andrew. Back to Sam for her third pick.
Okay, so I think this one will run in the UAE Derby, I think, but 6 speed for Bupat Simar.
Ooh, nice.
Wow. I have no idea who that horse is. Is this another Gulfstream horse?
No, a Middle East horse.
Wow. She actually did do research.
Won the
My
UAE 2000
goodness.
guinneas.
There you go.
That's right.
Yeah, thank you, Andrew, for the assist.
Yeah, I assumed any foreign horse would be picked by Andrew, but no, great job, Sam. There,
All right.
I already forgot the horse's name, but I'm happy
Speed.
for you.
Yeah.
All right.
There we go.
Well, without any further ado, I will
Ooh.
pick Further Ado.
Nice. Another really, really good horse. Hasn't run yet as a 3-year-old, but looked awesome as a 2-year-old. Lauren, who's your third pick?
Soldier and Diplomat.
Nice. Horse ran very, very well in the Southwest. Soldier and Diplomat goes to Lauren. Next up, this is another risky pick for me. I'm going to take Brant. I just think he was so brilliant. I don't know that he's going to stretch out. He is working a lot. He's hopefully going to make his 3-year-old debut pretty soon. I'm going to take Brant with my third pick. All right, so this is so much fun. We need to take a breath from all of the excitement and all of the energy brought by our Mage Rage Derby contest participants. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back with the second half of the Mage Rage Derby contest draft. Rail Talk is sponsored by Fasig-Tipton. Yo, shout out to Express Kid, who was a Fasig-Tipton digital sale purchase, who came back and ran a close second in the Sunland Park Derby, as our friend Andrew Stewart would say. This is I say it every week, but this is the benefit of participating in the digital sale. Obviously, he wasn't cheap, but he was available as a potential Kentucky Derby participant. And usually those deals have to be done privately, and it's only like who you know and based on those relationships. Whereas in the digital sales ring, there's all sorts of horses that are open to the public for bidding, and it doesn't have to be a Kentucky Derby contender. We talked last week about the horse who won 2 stakes at Oaklawn, Foie Gras, since he was purchased at the December digital sale. So there's all sorts of opportunities. You got broodmares as well. In horses or broodmares in full, broodmares prospects, short yearlings. They got a little bit of everything at those digital sales. And, don't forget, obviously, the big brick and mortar sale. We're already looking forward to the Mid-Atlantic May sale. Very, very excited for that at Timonium, obviously. Very, very productive sale, I would say. A lot of really nice horses. There's going to be Gallop only, which we cannot wait to see. We think that's the wave of the future on the sales front. Shout out to Fasig being first in the pool to make that change in the interest of better preserving and looking after the horses. So Obviously, the Mid-Atlantic sale is on our radar, but in the meantime, those digital sales are the place to check out for your next racetrack prospect or breeding prospect. February's digital sale is very soon, February 19th through the 24th. Definitely get involved and check it out. The catalog can be viewed at digital.fasig-tipton.com. So that starts the fourth round. Now my first pick to start the fourth round is going to be another maiden winner, but another crazy impressive maiden winner, Canaletto.
Oh, man.
Brother to Tappet. Yeah.
Sandman's half brother, right?
Yeah. I finally burned them. So yeah, I'm going to take Brant and Canaletto
Nice.
with those two picks. It goes back to you, Lauren, for your fourth pick.
I'm going to go with Jackson Hole.
Another horse that sounds made up, but I assume that it is real. Jackson Hole goes fourth to Lauren. What has he done? What's his last race?
He's an
Look it up.
He's an undefeated Nyquist colt that they paid $1.3 million as a yearling.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay. For those
Say
of you
less.
playing at home. That's
Yeah.
right.
All right.
I'm going to go, you guys are going to laugh about this one, but this horse was actually number 2 on my overall list. And I waited until the fourth round. So thank you for the value play. And that is a horse that won super impressively in a very tough maiden special weight a few weeks ago. Nyquist called Iron Honor.
That's a good one. He was high on my list too. All right. Iron Honor goes to John, goes back to Samantha for her fourth pick.
All right. I'm just going to hope that he hated the Gulfstream Park track and we'll see him back on track. Incredible.
Nice. Definitely showed a lot of talent as a 2-year-old. Incredible goes fourth to Samantha. Andrew, let's get your fourth and fifth picks, please.
Okay, the fourth pick, and I know you weren't overly impressed with the 3-year-old races a couple of weeks ago, but I'm going to go with the Withers winner and Talk to Me, Jimmy.
All right. Talk to Me, Jimmy, blowout winner in the Withers.
Yeah.
Usually, generally not good to not listen to me, when I'm dismissing horses because that guarantees they'll pop up and win a big race next time out. All right, who's your fifth pick, Andrew?
My fifth pick is the Saudi Derby winner, El Harim.
Fresh off of a win on Saturday. El Harim is Andrew's fifth pick. All right, it's getting to be crunch time, guys. I'm going to send it back to Lauren, or rather to Sam, for her fifth pick.
Okay. I'll go with Chief Wallaby.
This is going to be like a Minnesota Vikings situation where they don't run the pickup soon enough and we skip them.
Right.
Well, I can't keep track of who's picked. I have no idea who's picked what.
So,
We're going to go over it at the end.
Yeah. No, I just mean like during this.
I was really actually hoping that Andrew would pick that because I wanted to hear him say Chief Wallaby.
Chief Wallaby. Yeah, that would be. You can still say it, Andrew. Go
Can you
for
still
it.
say it, Andrew?
Chief
Just for us at
Wallaby.
home? There you go. Nothing makes me happier than that.
Man, that takes me back to Rocco's Modern Life. That's excellent. All right, so Chief Wallaby is next up for Sam, and it goes back to our friend John for his fifth pick.
I'm going to go with Bravaro.
Oh.
Bravaro. Second to top pick nearly in the Holy Bull. John picks Bravaro. Lauren, give us your pick. Please don't say someone that's already been chosen.
Has Easterly been chosen?
No. Well done.
All right.
All right.
Gang.
Lauren takes Easterly with her fifth pick. So it goes back to me for my fifth and sixth picks as we are creeping up on the final round. I'm going to go with Butane for my fifth pick just because I need a horse that has some points. I think that he's probably the B team for Baffert, but I'm going to take Butane with my fifth pick. And then I'm going to go back to a horse that has no points. I'm really setting myself up to have to make up some ground here. But how about Solitude Dude, Samantha Perry? That's a horse who's been pretty impressive in his first couple of races, blew out his competition in the Swale. He's got to stretch out, obviously.
Yep.
I'm going to close my team with Solitude Dude to start the sixth round. Lauren, who is your final selection?
I forgot his name already. Power Ship.
That's a good one. So yeah, Power Shift was the one who ran second to Emerging Market. I picked him in the second round, so this is good value, I got to say, picking the horse that was just beaten by him in the 6th round. All right, Lauren goes with Power Shift. John, complete that team, buddy.
All right, I'm going to go with another horse that doesn't have any points, and that is Blackout Time.
Nice. Yo, that's a good one. Damn, that's a good one. Was second to Ted Noffey in the Breeders' Futurity and is working towards his 3-year-old debut. I like John's team. I can tell right away that John is the favorite. All right, last 2 picks. Sam, who's your final selection?
Oh gosh, this is tough. Let's go with Class President.
Oh,
I don't even know who that one is.
Pick.
Educate me on that one. Who's that?
It's Pletcher's. He's nominated for the Fountain of Youths.
Okay.
Yeah. He ran 3rd to Solitude Dude, I think. I think it was 3rd.
Second. Yeah.
Second.
Good call. Yeah. Son of Uncle Mo. Okay. Take us home, Andrew Stewart. Who is your final selection?
Oh, well, it's a choice of 3. It's either the Sunland Park Derby winner Pavlovian, who will be having his 10th start, the 4-start maiden Fuzzbuster, who I think I might pick up in the supplementary. But I'm going to go with the 5-start maiden and owned by a friend of the show, Mike Rapoli, Grittiness.
All right. Runner up, but talk to me, Jimmy. And I think that was the first time in the history of humanity that anyone has pronounced Sunland Park's Derby, the Sunland Park Derby.
Sorry.
So appreciate that foreign flair.
It adds some class to this shit show.
Totally.
Appreciate
We
it.
say Derby over here. We say Derby, none of that Derby.
We appreciate it. So wait, did nobody?
The rest of the world says Derby.
There you go, Derby. Now that all the selections are done, nobody picked Universe or Intrepido. They both have 23 points apiece.
Yeah.
You
Well, this is why it's an interesting strategic kind of conversation here, because last year we were doing it where you just picked up the points that you got from the draft on. So this time it's like you kind of got to weigh whether or not you want to pick those accrued points or horses that you think have more upside. So we are complete. Thank you to all of you except Sam for your timely selections. Each team now is full with 6. What are you looking at me like that for, Lauren?
I don't even remember who I picked.
That's what I'm here for.
I
I'm about to read them to you. Andrew's team: Nearly, Silent Tactic, Golden Tempo, Talk to Me Jimmy, El Harim, and Grittiness. Shout out to maybe it's Julia who's doing the calculations on the back end here. Five selections with Derby points. Nearly's got 20. Silent Tactics got 25. Golden Tempo's got 35. Talk to Me Jimmy's got 20, and Grittiness has 11. So it looks like John and Andrew are going to have the most points at the beginning of the contest. Samantha's team: Commandment, Litmus Test, 6-Speed, Incredible. Andrew, say the other one for us. Say it.
Nice Wallaby.
There we
Yes, perfect. And then Class President. John has Paladin, Napoleon Solo, Further Ado, Iron Honor, and Brevaro, as well as Brevaro and Blackout Time. That's a stacked team. I would make John the narrow favorite. Lauren has Renegade, Chip Honcho, Soldier and Diplomat, Jackson Hole, Easterly, and Power Shift. And I've got Plutarch, Emerging Market, Brant, Canaletto, Butane, and Solitude Dude. This is, I was saying this before we did this. This is a very, very deep 3-year-old class. Like there were a lot of different ways to go. Like usually, Sam, isn't it usually like you really got to dig deep to find some horses that you can pick in the 5th or 6th rounds? But to me, in this draft, there's horses that are still on the board that you can make a case for.
Yeah, exactly. Like, last year, one of the horses I had to dig to pick has still yet to start. Seriously. Remember?
Yeah, that was like the rule.
I think he's
that was like the Beholder, right?
Yeah.
And the reason why Dan's not on the show again, this year is because he was literally picking 4-year-old maidens.
That was great.
Last year. He's like, is Grandpa's Got a Broken Hip still available? Yeah, he's running for maiden 10 at Sunland Park in the Derby.
Speaking of grandpas, Andrew, how do you feel about your team?
Oh, extremely happy.
What?
Extremely happy.
I think that was uncalled.
I'm going to nominate one horse to each of my grandchildren.
Very nice.
Hell yeah. See, he's proud of his grandchildren, Lauren. That wasn't a swipe. That was a shout out.
Okay. All right.
She's so cynical.
And if you watch the show, you would know that Andrew has grandkids.
Yeah. And also, his daughter just got married. So,
She did.
tip of the cap.
She did.
Yep.
Yeah.
Andrew Stewart.
Yeah.
Lauren, I hesitate to ask, but how do you feel about your team?
I don't remind me who you didn't. I remember.
I think I'm going to have a chance of winning this. Well, not running last anyway.
Oh, Lauren's got big stoner energy, but I don't even think it's like she's high at all or anything. This is just how she is. But she does a great job. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm high on life. That's what it is.
Well, that's why we love you.
The Soldier and Diplomat is my favorite horse, and John knows why. I like that horse at the 2-year-old sale. I was trying to get him to purchase that horse, and he would not. And he almost won the other day. If it wasn't for Mark, Mark's horse got in the way.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my top pick. I like that horse
She's got a
lot.
sharp eye, that one. Black Dog,
That
Bloodstocks.
horse wants longer. He wants more distance.
Fair enough. Nobody cares that much about Soldier and Diplomat. Like,
I'm sure Vinny Viola cares, and so does.
sorry, Vinny doesn't watch the show.
That's fine.
All right. Thank you, Lauren. Black Dog Bloodstock. Can't wait to see you down in Ocala. Thank you, Andrew Stewart of Aryan Pedigrees. You see the knowledge that Andrew has for the entirety of the racing world. Aryan.co.nz is the website. This is one of the guys that makes it so special. Terrific pedigree resource. So shout out to Andrew for taking the time today. And thank you, Samantha Perry, defending champion on her day off from Gulfstream, coming on and doing the draft with us. This was a lot of fun, guys.
Yep. Thank you.
It's great.
Samantha, one quick question. Are you like at a coffee shop or something like that? That's definitely not your house.
No, but I just woke up.
Do we want to know where? Never mind.
What a personal question. It's none of your business where he is, John. Don't ask a woman where she is.
The greatest meme ever. It was Jack Rose telling Jack to wake up, and she wasn't wrong. I might have been about an hour ago.
On brand as always. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Lauren. We'll bring you back for the supplemental draft, and this is going to be a fun spring. Appreciate the time. All right, so that's going to do it for episode 124 of Rail Talk. This was fun. Had the whole gang come through. Appreciate my co-pilot, Jon Green, as always, and our special guests, Samantha Perry, Lauren Carlisle, and Andrew Stewart for participating in our Mage Rage Derby contest draft. That was fun, and it's going to be even more fun to track all the results along the way. Like I said, I think John's team has a slight edge, but it's pretty much up for grabs. So love and appreciate every single one of them. Those are some of our closest homies, and we always appreciate them coming on. I hope you guys enjoyed it watching at home, too. Thank you to our producer, Patty Wolf, our associate producers, Julia Agresta and Nathan Wilkinson. We'll see you next week back here on Rail Talk.